Hi, Jeff Galloway. I am a resident of Battery Park City. I also help run the Dog Association in Battery Park City. I think in terms of process, a meeting like this is really a good step, and I really do thank you for having this meeting. And I think some of the reaction that you're getting here may not be, all that pleasant to withstand, but this is how you find out what we think. And I do, as you are negotiating with the PEPs in the coming weeks, from the Dog Association's perspective, and we deal with dog associations all over the city who deal with security issues in parks all over the city. We've had the luxury of having a very well-staffed PEP force at the Battery Park City Parks for a generation, unlike any other park in the city except for Central Park. There are certain things that PEPs can do that private security cannot do, and what I would urge you to do is that as you're negotiating with the PEPs, with the city, make sure you maximize the things that they can do uniquely. As peace officers, for example, their expertise in patrolling parks. It's a lot different to patrol the parks than to patrol the streets. Private security can patrol streets and do your maintenance things, but there are certain things that PEPs are really trained at. And the peace officer aspect is very important to us as dog owners and users of the park. Personally, I think you probably do need to keep their head count pretty much the same as before and augment the services with in the other areas, maintenance in the non-park areas with the new private security. But I just urge you to maximize what the PEPs can do uniquely as opposed to what private security can do. Thank you.
My name is Marianne Braverman. I live in Liberty Court. My questions have to do with governance. When I submitted questions by email, you touched on some of them in the beginning, but not all of them. And the reason I asked those particular questions was because I know there is a big issue and a big interest in getting more local representation on the board. One is what kind of experience and background is expected of people who serve on the board?
The governor appoints the members, as I said earlier, and the criteria that he uses to decide who he wants to put on the board, I haven't the faintest idea.
Okay, then we'll ask the governor. You have to know something because you're on the board.
I'm giving you, no, it doesn't work that way. The governor has hundreds and hundreds of people that he knows throughout the state. He's got all these agencies and authorities that he has to populate as vacancies come up. I don't have the foggiest idea how they decide which name is going where, other than based on my background for the last 45 years, he felt that I would be capable to operate the authority.
Okay, then I guess we'll address it to the governor.
And the members. We've got 2 members on that are in construction, which we find to be very helpful. Frank Branchini, I think, runs United Healthcare, but on capital markets issues, I'm very intimate and familiar with Wall Street and capital markets issues. You understand where what Martha's background is. So the result, the board we have, is an active, qualified board with different skill sets, with different members. So whatever the governor's doing, so far it seems to have worked out, but it's his purview.
Okay, my other question was about the time demands on you as members. How much time does it take?
Well, we have a meeting once a month. We always have a meeting. It takes about a half a day. We have subcommittees. Martha chairs one, others chair others. They'll take another hour or 2 every month or so, and then I ask various board members to assist with things that come up. For example, after the flood, we had all kinds of emergency work to do. We have members on the board that are familiar with that kind of stuff, and so they help with us, and it takes whatever time it takes. I'm also the chief executive officer as well as the chairman, so depending on the level of activity, sometimes I'm here for a day a week, and sometimes I'm not. Whatever's required.
Thank you. There are 2 other things. You talked about laws that govern your actions.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are those? Where can we see them?
They're embedded in state legislation.
All right, is that something that can be put out, a link maybe with the newsletter, or some way to make it?
Well, it would depend about what. In other words.
Well, you said you have.
If we do an RFP, we have certain rules that are mandated by the state we have to follow.
Okay, so you're saying these are not rules unique to Battery Park City Board? No. It's sort of state authorities.
No, there are many public authorities, and there's a public authorities control board, and there are protocols and procedures, and we are mandated to follow those protocols and procedures.
And the RFPs, when you send out RFPs or you're planning an RFP, is there a way to communicate that in advance?
Well, we
We've
put it
given
up.
email
We
addresses.
put it on our website.
We put it on our website. We advertise it online. We're actually advertising whatever construction contracts we've had. We've tried to increase cranes, for example, is a place we'll put it on. But we don't let people know in advance. We let them know when it goes out. That's what.
Okay, so when you talk, we've given you all email addresses. We can go online and get your newsletter. Is the newsletter going to be just about fun and games or about realities of living and having good governance?
The newsletter we are using to get out the message about what's going on here, because it's just in terms of activities and focusing on things that make it feel more like a community. We have our websites where we actually have, fairly comprehensive information about what's going on here. We have a news alert section on both our websites to let people know.
Right, but you're saying we need to go look. You're not going to push it out.
Right. We post
put
it on the website.
If people are interested
We
enough
have
and
to
they look
go
on the
and look.
website, they're going to
Yes.
see it.
All right,
Yeah, you
that's
got to
what
go
I
look
said.
for it.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Sure.
One other thing, you talked about the South End Avenue study. Could you just describe what you are studying or assessing? And thank you.
I mean,
Forgive me, but we'd like to get, we're past our time. We'd like to get a few more people up.
Thank you for hosting this. I think it's important, and I've been a city, state, and federal employee, so